Welcome back to the Graybeard Podcast. I'm the guy with the gray beard. I'm Jim. Nice to meet everyone, if you don't already know me. I was saying earlier on my Instagram stories, I always have coffee with me, and I wanted to have a little Java, and I'm off on the weekend, so from my day job, and I did not feel like making any damn coffee today, especially since I'm flying solo. And so I stopped off at Eliano's and got a little, I don't even know what this is. It's like a vanilla something or other mochaccino latte frappuccino something or other. It's hot. And it's very, I said, I want something hot, I want something vanilla-y, and I want something sweet. And they just made it. And I don't know. And this one is a mango tango. It doesn't really look like mango tango, but it's a frozen. And normally with these, they ice them, but they blended it up for me because I wanted a slushy. And these are also energy drinks. You can get it without the energy. I opted out because I have a coffee and didn't want to have, I'm already kind of spacey as it is. I don't want to, get too crazy on here. Anyways, before I start getting into some of the questions, I had like a format in my head that I was like, well, you know what? Let's do like a format thing. Let's actually do a thing. But I don't really know if I'm going to do that. But at any rate, I'm a little loopy because, yes, as you saw, if you watched my Instagram stories, if you didn't, it's the Graybeard Podcast on Instagram. Go follow it right now. Follow the page, and you'll see all the stories and stuff. And if you don't, then you have to search for it because the algorithm is stupid. Take a sip. That's delicious. Made with almond milk because my sensitive tummy can't handle real milk. What is it? Real milk? Is it? It's been pasteurized, homogenized, so it can last longer on the shelf. I mean, real milk, like fresh cow milk, is probably the best for us, right? I don't know. I'm just saying. At any rate, yeah, I've been feeling a little under the weather. Again, I had some shit going on. It's kind of embarrassing, and some people might say, ew, gross, Jim. That's fucking disgusting. But if you're a dude or, a lady, ladies get these things too, especially people that roll jujitsu and stuff like that. Not that I do. I certainly don't roll jujitsu. But I work in the heat sometimes, and I get hot and I get sweaty, and I'm out for like 10 and a half hours a day, sometimes more. But so if you get like little cuts and then all that sweat and bacteria and things get inside those cuts, you can get, and I'm not 100% sure because they had to culture it. They had to swab it and send it off. But, it looked like staph to me. So I jumped on that. I don't want to lose my arm or my life. Those kind of things freak me out. I'm a generally, I know I don't look like it, but I'm a generally clean person. Like I usually, like here, especially here lately, I've been taking 2 showers a day because I feel gross, in the heat. I get up in the morning, 2:30, I take a shower, go to work, I get home, I take a shower because I just feel wrecked. And it's so damn hot outside. It's gross. Like I come home soaked with sweat. And, so anyways, it can happen to anybody. It's like an abscess, and they're checking it. They swabbed it to see if it's actually staph. Hopefully it's not. But that's what the antibiotics are for that I got just now. I was out getting my antibiotics before this. How do you say antibiotics? Did I just say that? But anyways, so I don't know, hopefully it'll get better. I've got like this gauze wrapping. It looks like my shoulder is huge, but it's just like this gauze stuff that I got wrapped around it because the thing is under my pit. It's like directly in, oh, look at them guns. It's right in the pit. So like, how do you bandage that? But, anyways, without getting really gross, I'm on the mend. So the goal for tonight, did you like my thumbnail? Did you guys like the thumbnail? I've been posting it on my Instagram as well. It's on here. Chat GPT, man. What can I say? My friend over at Husa Creates, you know, he's kind of like my Chat GPT daddy. He's like the guru. And I don't know, I've just been playing with it and stuff, and I was like, let's see what happens. And I put the picture of me and Pat in that I've used before, and like a TikTok filter thing where it's like AI for TikTok, and it like you just, it's like what is the thing? Upload a photo and let the AI decide what happens next, and like all of a sudden we were like completely different people, and like there was a fucking rodeo in my house or something. It was weird looking, but I used that same photo, and I was like, hey guy, oh, I think I just lost my picture. This damn thing is so sensitive. Give it a second, guys. It'll come back. I'm so tired of this. I got to get some new HDMIs. Hopefully you can still see it. Yeah, we're still live. Come on. Come on. I didn't mean it. I swear. It's still acting stupid. Maybe if I move it this way. You know, these types of gremlins don't happen when I have Patrick here. And he couldn't join me this evening. So, you know, there's good reason. We'll talk about it. I always do. I'm kind of a nerd that way. I don't know what's happening. I don't know. Hopefully it won't be like this the whole episode. That'll suck. It is terribly hot out here too. Come on. Come on. Where's my camera? Let me find it. I wonder what would happen. I think that would not be good if I unplugged and plugged it back in. I'm going to try unplugging and plugging back in the actual HDMI ports. Uh-oh, I lost one. There it goes. Off hooker. Yeah, so this part of the podcast is going to be fucky. We're going to do something real quick because it's not showing my Blackmagic ATEM Mini at all. Oh, there we are. Okay, we have camera. Let's turn the air conditioner way the fuck down so I can get cool in here because I am hot. Oh, you know what? Fuck. I can't do it from my phone anymore because I changed my Wi-Fi and I didn't, this is like shit you have to think about when you change your damn Wi-Fi. You got to like reset everything. It's a pain in the ass. It'll come back on in a minute. Anyways, where was I before I was so rudely interrupting myself with this stupid camera shit? Okay, so AI, I've been playing with it, and I took that picture, and I was just like, hey, guy, I said, take this photo, and I want you to add, change the background. I want you to change it to, like, rainbows and unicorns and aliens and leprechauns behind us and, just stars and anything you can think of that looks trippy. And it did. And then it fucking, it wasn't good what it did because it changed the actual, I said, don't changed the people, just changed the background, but it changed the people. So me and Pat were again two different dudes. It was not us. The picture was not us. So, I said, fuck it, animate, in a certain style. And if you can't tell by the thumbnail the style of the animation that it did, I don't want to say it out loud on the air because I'm not trying to get sued. I mean, I don't think I'd get sued unless I had like, a couple billion followers or some shit. Then they might want a little bit, but it's a famous cartoon TV show, and its initials are R and M. And I was like, just do it in the style of that. And it did. And then I was like, do that again, but do it landscape so I could put it as a YouTube thumbnail. And it did it perfectly. And I was like, hey, do that same thing, but like add the words flying solo. And it did everything that I wanted it to do. And I fucking love that. I absolutely love the fact that there's this tool out there that we can use to create something like that. And it's like dummy proof, really. I mean, the sky is the limit. You're only limited by your own imagination because this thing can generate anything you want. Now, I've got some ideas now for like side business that I could do. I might start to do, and so I'm gonna have some fun with some cool logos with that going on, and so that should be fun. But it's like I said, it's just been an interesting week. But yeah, we were gonna have a S-cast. I got to be very careful because certain things you can't say on the internet. Real like anyways, it was a shroom cast. Okay, me and Pat were gonna eat some magic beans, and we were gonna have a podcast. But like, both of our ladies went out of town, so Pat's at home with his grandson, my grandson, his baby boy. He's at home with him, so he's unable to come tonight. So that's why it's just me. That's pretty commendable, though. I mean, I would drop everything too to be with my son or my daughters. I don't have a son. I do have a son. It's Pat. He's my son. But you know what I'm saying. I for sure would not be doing a podcast if there was no one to like watch my child. But I would for sure do that instead. So Patty, I love you, and little Liam, I love you too, buddy. I hope you guys are having a fun time. Y'all probably could have come over and just sat with me anyways, what the hell. Or you can call me, Pat. If you're out there and you're watching, you can call me. I've got it hooked up to the old audio there, and you can, that way we can podcast from there. But at any rate, and if you have my number and you want to call in the show right now or anytime while I'm doing the show, I want you to feel free to do that. Okay? I'm going to type that in to the old stream. Oh, that's awful. Okay, if you are someone that has my number and would like to call into the show and chat for a little bit, do it. Boom. Sent. I'm not going to post my phone number up there. So I guess the format tonight, like what I kind of have planned, let's add that to broadcast. What I kind of have planned for this evening is, first thing first, talk about the coffee and my physical condition and then explain why I'm here. So that's good. Next is, oh my God, I just had it in my brain pan. I I don't know. I'm just going to ramble about stuff probably, but I do have, I asked you guys to like leave some questions or comments, and a bunch of you did. So I'm going to read through those and try and answer them to the best of my ability, here on the live. And then, whatever else comes up is what comes up. So, and you know how it goes. You throw out a topic to me and I kind of just start there and go, and you never know what's going to happen. That's part of my problem. Or is that part of my charm? Anyways, so, well, let's get into that, because I don't mind being here all night, but I'm definitely not going to be here all night. So thank you to those. First of all, I want to say thank you to those people that did leave some questions and comments and whatnot. And I'm going to try and read them all. And I'm going to start with this one. And I'm not going to call your names out. If you ask the question, you know it's your question. Okay. I don't know if I could answer this, but who favorite podcast guest so far? I actually get asked that a lot here on the podcast and when I go on other podcasts and stuff like that. And I feel like it's not fair to ask, that question, because I try to love everybody, and I truly, everyone that comes in here, everyone that hangs out with me, anybody that gives me the time of day, I genuinely look at them as my friend, and I love every single one of them, and it's really hard for me to just single one of them out. Some conversations, they're not better or worse than others. They're just different. That's another thing, and it's like, that's one of those things that people have asked me, because they notice that the timing of my podcast, it goes from an hour to sometimes 4 hours. And the reason for that is not that I enjoy talking to this person more than this person, or, I really just wanted to cut it short with this person. It doesn't, that has nothing to do with anything. I promise you. It's based on basically I really don't even know how it happens. We get into a conversation, and if it's flowing, you don't even realize the time has gone by. There have been a couple that I realized the time had gone by. We've done a couple, a lot of them were 3 hours, but there has been, like one of my friends, Tristan, he usually comes on, AKA Urban Curse. He's been on a couple times, and the first time he came on, I think we did over 4 hours. And that's no more than, the only reason that even happened is because you get two people, actually three people, that like to talk a lot. And you get us together and we're going to talk a lot. That's basically the gist of it. I'm getting this hue of red. Anyways, it doesn't matter. No one's even watching. I'm kind of free to do whatever I want. It's kind of nice. I like it with no one in here, because you guys can watch this back later, and you're really not missing anything. This is just me doing what I do. Okay. The reason that I did this solo is because, like I said to the boys on the OG Sessions podcast, I do these things solo when I don't have a guest. I planned for no guest today. I planned for me and Pat to do this today, but then some things happen. Some things come up, and you can't really control the things that come up, right? So there's no sense in being butthurt about it. You just pivot and you move the fuck on. That's how I operate. And I'm the type of person that I'm like, I don't want to not do one. I'm already falling short in certain other areas of my life. Not my life. Fuck that. I'm doing good in my life. But I'm talking about in the podcast game. I could be doing so much more, and I could be doing so much more to move myself forward. All those things. I'm just, I'm kind of content. But let's move on to one of the other questions. What is something you wish you knew about sooner? Honestly, um, geez, that's a tough question. I think about that a lot. Like if I could go back in time and tell myself a thing, or like it's a very hard question to answer because I mean it could be so many different things, and for me it's always something personal. It's never anything like, I wish I knew that Trump was going to be president. I couldn't give a fuck less. But my thing is like, maybe don't do this, and if I would have done this, maybe I would have been better off. Things I wished I would have known sooner, and I don't know if he's talking about, or he or she. You know who you are. It's a he. Anyways, I don't know if they're talking about like in the podcast game or like just in life in general. So I'm going to go with life in general, and then I'll go for just the podcast game. But in life in general, I don't know. I think I look back at my life, and even though there were some tough times, I really feel like the only thing that I would have changed was like career based. I would have married the person I married. I would have had my kids. If I didn't, I would have been a miserable person. I just wish that I would have gone to college directly after high school, because I was like, I'm going to take a year off, bro. And I never went back. I was offered a music scholarship to a college here in Jacksonville, and I didn't take it like a dummy. One of my friends did, and, he's doing real well for himself now. But I just, a few of my friends did. All my friends were drummers back in the day, but it would have been nice to at least have the experience. I know that you don't need college to succeed in life. I mean, I was basically homeless about, God, how long have I been in this house? About like 9 years, something like that. But, about 9 years ago, I was kind of homeless for, like half a year. And actually more than that. Shit, has it been longer? It's totally been longer. If I've been in this house for 9 years, I lived in an apartment for 2 years. And then before that, I moved out of my marital home into my friend Roy's house, and I lived with them for, I don't remember how long I stayed there, but it had to have been at least 6 months. But if at any rate, like I know that if I can come this far without school, I being homeless to now having a home, and then, and this is something I was talking to my daughter about yesterday. We were having like a life conversation, and it was like, I'm real worried about her, and I worry about both of my kids, but like at least Gabby has, okay, let me back that up. Not at least, because Bianca also has a partner, but I'm just saying, one of my daughters is married and has a home of her own and her child and everything. They're doing good. My youngest, and she's still young, so she's got time, but my concern for her was, are you using your time wisely? Like, are you using your time wisely in the way that, like, you're living with dad? You really don't have a lot of bills. So why aren't you saving every last dime that you don't have on, for all the money that you don't have, all the money you don't have to spend on bills, save it, is basically what I'm trying to say. And, it was funny because it looked like this little light came on, like, oh, yeah, I mean, you can do it. It's not the money you want to be making, but it's not McDonald's money. So, and you have a nice cushy job in an office. So, I mean, I say cushy. I know you work very hard. You told me about your day yesterday. I wouldn't want that for the world. You probably deserve more money. Yes. And you are it. I appreciate you. I appreciate you that you were my one viewer and that you came in. I do these lives, and I don't care if I have many viewers or not during the live. People usually generally watch afterwards, but I do appreciate you coming in and stopping in. Yeah, man. Let's see. I don't know who you are though, but I appreciate you. I always try to do the game where I figure out who it is. Patrick would probably know better than I do, but people use little aliases on YouTube, and at any rate, thanks for being here, buddy. Right now, I'm kind of going through some of these questions that people dropped out to me on Instagram a while back. If you have a question that you'd like to ask, feel free to shoot it over in the comments section, and I'll read it and I'll try to answer it to the best of my ability. But back to the question, what's something you wish you knew about sooner? I wish I would have. I wish I would have just been better with money. Basically, I'm not money hungry, but unfortunately, in the world we live in, you kind of need it. It is the big ugly green monster, and I do think that like a lot of my issues in the marriage was the big ugly green monster. So that was one of those things that we fought about a lot, was money. But like I said, I'm doing okay now. But I should be retired probably. And I would have been if I was smarter. So the only thing that I would tell my younger self in life would be squirrel money away, start up and, whatever it is, put money into your 401k, put money into profit sharing, just put it aside, do your thing, and just nest egg for the future. I probably would have done better with that. But at any rate, now, that same question, I said I was going to answer that for like the podcast and like content creation side as well. I wish I would have known sooner that I don't like social media. And I know that that's stupid, but I just, it's social media for me is not, I'm an old guy. Okay. I mean, obviously you can see. I am 17. What's one piece of advice you can give me? Okay. Well, I mean, listen, the last thing I just talked about would be the one piece of advice. And that's just one, but there's a lot of advice I can give to a 17-year-old. I don't know if you're a boy or a girl. It doesn't really matter, or somewhere in between. It doesn't matter. If you're a 17-year-old human, save yourself some money. Invest in yourself, invest money off to the side. That is huge. As well as another piece of advice that I'd give is, don't rush into anything with, as far as a relationship goes. Do not rush into that, because it's easy to want love. Everybody wants love, right? Everybody wants that. And at your age, everything's racing. Your hormones are raging. Everything is just exploding. And you're like, all you can think about is, I got to have a girlfriend. Everybody's cool, has a girlfriend or a boyfriend or whatever. But it's like, you don't need that. I mean, at your age, you need to be thinking about learning as much as you possibly can. Learn everything. So much that you start forgetting things, but absorb as much information as possible. And then figure out how to use that information in life, and then continue to learn throughout life. But in your early years, like, this is something like as a child, which is what you are. Sorry. It is what it is. But as a child, I spent more time thinking about socializing and, what did I look like, like my clothing and stuff like that. And none of that shit matters. None of it matters. I mean, and that's like the cold hard truth, man. It's like, it's not real hard to see that does not matter. No one gives a shit in real world. No one cares if you wear Jordans. No one cares if you have, fucking $250 basketball shorts on, or I don't even know. Whatever the kids are wearing. No one cares about designer clothing. No one cares about the way your hair looks. I mean, obviously jobs, they kind of care, but for the most part they don't anymore. They kind of really don't care anymore, because they understand that people are going to be people. They are going to do them. There's like, I'm going to be me, so a lot of companies now are allowing, bicolored hair or multicolored hair, tattoos, piercings. I mean, I have piercings and I've got long hair, and, nobody says a word to me, but I do not care what anybody thinks of the way I dress, way I, talk. I am who I am. As long as I do a good job, that's all that matters. But as a kid, as a young person, kid is so, it sounds kind of bad, like derogatory, but I'm not trying to be that way. But as a young person, you think that those are important things. What do you wear? How many friends do you have? Keeping up with the Joneses. I'm not sure if you've ever experimented with drugs, but I would say, and I'm an advocate for some drugs, but I would very much say at your age to not do any of that stuff. Your frontal lobe is not fully developed yet. Hey, no problem. Thanks. I appreciate it. See you next time. But at any rate, yeah, I'm telling you, it's just, thank you so much for that question. It was Aslan. So I don't know who that person is, but he saw that I only had one viewer and he jumped in, he or she, they jumped in and asked the question. So I appreciate that. He's got to go to bed now, or they do, whatever. So we're going to go on to the next. Okay. We did a would you rather, and no, it's not Connor. And, it's not Connor. Hey, okay. Would you rather have diarrhea or be constipated? Well, seeing as how, I don't know, man. See, these would you rather questions are weird because it's like, I have questions. Would I be constipated for very long or like the rest of my life? Would I have diarrhea for the rest of my life? I have no idea. So you have to kind of just pick one. I'm going to go with probably diarrhea. I don't want that poison inside of me. It's got to get out. Anyways, that's kind of a nasty question. And you know who you are. Nasty girl. This one knows my girl and her name. What's your favorite dish Alana cooks? You're trying to get me in trouble. My favorite dish that Alana cooks. I would have to say it's real easy. I am a simple person. I like simple meals. And she does not. She is a bam. She's like an Emerald Lagasse over here. Like she's always wanting to cook new recipes, and it's got to be, there's all these elements to it that like, and it's great. But it's just stuff I would never have thought of, that's all. I mean, we've gone through all these different diet plans, and like not really diet plans, but it's like, I think we were on a Mediterranean diet. So what that consists of is a lot of fish and shrimp and like, real lemony, like spinach and stuff like that mixed in. It was very good. I really enjoyed that. But to me, my favorite thing is the katsu chicken that she makes. Lot of must. I know that I've seen some places online, from some people that do like food reviews and stuff like that, where they have katsu chicken. I'm gonna tell you right now, my girl's is way better. It's so good, so much the goods. I could eat that by itself. She makes like almost steamed rice. White rice, which I love. I love plain white rice, so when she makes those two things together and you drop a couple of little droplets, that was my drop sound. It's not very good, of soy sauce onto the rice and to the chicken. Lord of mercy. It's so good. Do I like lima beans? No. That's a hard no. Lima beans are disgusting. Okay. First of all, they're bland. There's no flavor to them at all. And they dry my mouth out so badly that like the roof of my mouth starts to hurt. And I don't know what that is or why that is. Because they're soft. It's not like they're abrasive on the top of the roof of my mouth, but they just hurt. I don't know. It's like I get the same reaction from walnuts. Maybe I'm allergic to them both. But I do not like lima beans. I think they are a bean for people that have no sense. Like sense, like not like sense, but like they can't feel things or taste things. So yeah, no. The lima beans could be, I could go the rest of my life without a lima bean and it will be too damn soon for eating a lima bean. Okay, now if it was like, hey Jim, guess what? You're dead. Heaven is real. The only way you can get in is to eat some fucking lima beans. I'm gonna be like, yo, I guess I got to eat these lima beans, but I'm gonna be in there with a busted ass palate. So yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I mean, not saying heaven's not real. Okay, I don't know that. I don't know. I don't want to go down that road. And if I do, it's my own fault because I'm by myself. This next one is, do you believe in aliens? Do you know me at all? Of course I believe in aliens. Well, it's not believe in aliens. It's not like a religious thing, because if you believe in something, then it's kind of like a religious thing. It's like, I believe, I've never seen it, but I believe. But I do believe that there are other species and races and things of that nature out. Races, species, probably. There's other beings in this earth, or not even in this, I guess they're probably. I have thought about that as well. I have thought that they are on the earth with us, but what I meant to say was in this vast, solar system and universe and cosmos, whatever you want to call it, I do believe that there are other living beings out there that are not us. I believe that there's so many. Come on. Like, how can you not believe that there are other beings, other living beings out there? Did I lose this damn picture again? Yeah, I did. Oh, I faded to black. Stupid. I put my phone down on that button. My bad. But it's like almost silly to think that there's not. Now, I can't say whether they've, come to this earth and joined us here, but it sure seems like it. Like when you look, I don't know if you guys believe in like the theory of evolution, or what is the other one, creation? I don't know. But if we truly came from monkeys, how did we go from that to this? Like how, and we'll never really find out, because we can't dig that far down, first of all. Second of all, I believe, and this is my problem, but I watch, I've read the Graham Hancock, Fingerprints of the Gods, and I watched all his shows, and his theories seem very sound to me. Not saying that they are right. I'm just saying that they seem very sound. Okay. So I like to think that there's been many, many civilizations on this planet that we will never know about. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, I had a phlegm. But, so yeah, I think that there's many civilizations that we'll never know about. And it's odd to me that scientists are, I say scientists, I mean like archaeologists and people like that do these types of research, that they are so wrapped up in their own bullshit that they, this was my thesis and it's got to be correct. And when somebody proves their shit wrong, they get upset. Well, from what I understand about science, it's supposed to be fairly objective, and you have to know, that there's nothing 100%, like nothing. There has to be room for error. There has to be room for things to change, right? So, anyways, that's just me. It's good coffee. But yes, I do believe in aliens. I believe that there are beings out there other than us in this world. Now, this last one, I've answered it a couple of times on this podcast, actually, and on a couple of others, but I'll answer it again. And I keep switching back and forth here between the hot and the cold. I don't want my ice to melt. Bro, Mango Tango, Elios. Or how can Elianos, not Elios, Elianos. So freaking good. Have them blend it. The ice, so good. All right, hang on one second. All right. What the hell just happened? I'm leaking all over I'm leaking. It was my vape. I had to vape. I didn't want y'all to see that. Apparently TikTok has a real problem with me vaping, because I did a live on TikTok, and when I did, I hit my vape while I was on the live. I didn't like leave the camera. So I got a, what do you call it? Basically a slap on the wrist, a community guidelines thing. But it's not like I was going to leave that live up there anyways. It's fine. I don't care. It was my first and last time ever going live on TikTok. I don't understand it. There's too much going on and I don't like it. So maybe one day, if it's still around, I keep hearing that, they're going to ban it again. I don't know if that's real or not. I don't honestly care. Because these social media sites come and they go, and they're trending and then they fall off. But I know that there's some people that they make a living from TikTok. Wow, this thing is really leaking. It's really leaking good. Pat, I'm rubbing it on your chair. You're not here. Shut up. I don't have any paper towels. It's leaking so good. I guess I shouldn't lay it on its side, which is weird because I do that all the time. But anyways, but yeah, I'm not a big social media fan. I was saying that before Aslan hopped in there and asked me that question. But yeah, I'm not one to. I don't want to be stuck on my phone all day long. I have too many things going on. I just started working out again. No, I didn't go to a gym. I'm not going to join a gym. I don't want to do that. There's a certain level of fitness that I want to achieve. And I got a couple of 25-pound dumbbells and a yoga mat. It's a little thicker than a yoga mat, but it's like a workout mat because I have hardwood floors in here, and it really does not feel good to do crunches on the hardwood floors. My spine sticks out, my bones stick out, and they hurt whenever I do the curls and sit-ups and shit. But speaking of, I'll go ahead and kind of pivot to that. I have been wanting, I know that the older you get, the more you kind of lose. I'm getting very close to 50 years old, and I know that you start to lose testosterone, muscle mass, bone mass, all the things that are necessary for, everyday normal life. And I used to work out like a motherfucker, okay? And I was very fit at about between 38 and 42 in that area, in that range. I was very fit, okay? I had like washboard abs. Yeah, imagine that. I had no problems taking my shirt off at the beach, size 32 waist. Actually, it was actually down to like 31, 30, between 30 and 31 at one point. And I felt really good. Like, I felt good. I didn't give a shit about the way my body looked. I mean, that was a side effect. But I felt better than I ever had in my life. I felt better at that age than I did at 18, 19 years old. And I was pretty fit back then as well. When I got married, I stopped working out. I stopped taking care of myself. I stopped going to the doctor. I didn't get regular physicals anymore. I wouldn't, we would just eat whatever. There was no plan for healthy dieting, none of that. So I did that for like almost half of my life, and that will take its toll on you. Before I left that marriage, my doctor was trying to put me on like meds, what do you call it, blood pressure medication. And I was like very hesitant. I'm not one of these people that wants to look for a pill. We are so quick to jump to, I have a problem, so I need a pill to fix it. I want to fix it right now. Well, guess what? There is no such thing as a magical pill. People didn't have them before, and I know, I'm not saying that they were any better off than us, but I mean, I know that there's some people that need medication. I'm not an asshole, okay? I get that. But I'm not one of those people, okay? I maybe do, but I'm going to figure out how to circumvent that. I'm going to, whatever it takes. So when I'm depressed, I work out. I come out here, I do some video or film a video or edit something, or who knows? I do any number of things that I can possibly do to take my, to make my mind active and to keep my body active. Plus my job keeps me very active. So I think that helps. I'm not too sure if that's real, but for me, it's very real. Oh, shirt's all weird. Anyways, but yeah, so I think that for me, and maybe some other people out there, but I think that if you're depressed and you're not feeling, and you have anxiety, I mean, this is just my personal thoughts on this. I'm not a doctor. I don't know anything, but I think that if you're depressed or you have anxiety or both, PTSD or ADHD, I think ADHD is, it's basically hyperactivity in your brain, right? Your brain needs stimulation. Your body needs stimulation. And so I would just say, look at what your activities are. Are you sedentary? Do you work and then come home and just lay around? Or do you come home and get active? Do you go for walks? Do you take your dogs for a walk? Do you run? Do you work out? Do you do anything physical at all? And a lot of people probably would say no. And I know that even myself, even working 10 and a half to 11, 12 hours a day, whatever it may be, and I'm very active while I'm working. I'm always moving. I'm always working, and I'm lifting, and there's things, I'm not going to talk about my job, but I'm just saying I'm very active when I'm working. And so it's just one of them deals where it's like, you have to ask yourself, what does your life look like? And if your life looks like just sedentary, like you work an office job, you sit in front of a computer all day, and then you get off of work and maybe you sit in front of the computer, or you get on your phone and you just scroll, and you sit on the couch and you just scroll your phone for the rest of the evening and you don't do anything physical, you're going to be depressed, in my opinion. Like I said, I am no doctor, I'm no expert, but that's just kind of common sense. Now, I'm not saying it'll fix everybody. I know that there's people out there that need some medication. They need some kind of, there's illnesses and things like that we have created medications for that are extremely helpful. So in that regard, I would say do that in conjunction with, consult your doctor first, and then maybe find a little routine that you like where you're being active and see how you feel. Do it for a week. Do it for 2 weeks. Just see how much, do you feel any better? Do you feel worse? These are things that you have to do. You can't just rely on the medication. You can't, if you're overweight, there's pills out there now. Ozempic is one of them, and I'm really against that. I have friends that take it, and I am so against those types of things. Now, those were made for, I think they were made for diabetes. I'm not 100% sure, but they were made for that. And then they found that the side effect, the people that were on them that had the diabetes they would lose weight. But now apparently and this is just, again, I'm bringing up headlines because that's how I remember. And I will research more, and we can talk about it more when Patrick or someone's back in the building. I don't really want to get too much in depth right now. But Ozempic is, to my knowledge, to my understanding, I think they're getting sued right now. And rightly so. I don't know if Ozempic should be sued. I think the people that subscribe it to people as a weight loss cure. I think they should be sued. That's, again, my opinion. I don't know. It doesn't mean shit. But from what I've read, some of the side effects for that stuff is you will actually lose bone mass and your connective tissue, like your joints and stuff, it will deteriorate it basically just zaps everything out of you because it's an appetite suppressant. And we've been down this road before, guys. I think it was ephedrine or something like that. And people got addicted to that. And, the problem with things like these, what are they called? Anyways, problem with, medication like this is once you get off of it, if you've not changed your lifestyle, if you don't now eat healthy and work out regularly, to my knowledge and to what I understand about this drug, which is very little, you will go right back to being the way you were. And you will be worse now because you've lost bone mass and you've lost connective tissue, your joints and your cartilage and stuff like that. So now your body is not only going to balloon back to the weight that it was, but now your structure and your foundation is going to be weaker. So, if you have to take it for diabetes, I would say take it because God knows I don't want you to have fucking diabetes, but, it's just one of those things that's like, in my opinion, there is no magic pill. It ain't real. So, anyways, I'm going to ask this last question or answer this last question here. And then I'm going to probably pontificate a little more on some other stuff. What made you want to start a podcast? I'm going to go real deep on this one. What made me want to start a podcast? Oh, my dogs are barking. Not my feet don't hurt, but my actual dogs are barking. Okay, so let me turn this off and shut it over here. Take a swig of this coffee. So good. What made me want to start a podcast? I started listening to podcasts shortly after my divorce. I had a friend that she liked listening to podcasts. And, you talk about platonic friendships between men and women. We had that. She was like my sister. I still love her to this day. We don't speak anymore, and it has nothing to do. I'm not mad at her, and I hope that she's not mad at me. We both knew that we were helping each other. She was having issues in her life, and I was for sure having issues in mine, and we were both kind of like therapy for each other. It was great. We would talk all day, every day. I would be on the phone with her for 8 hours a day. She had her own business. And she didn't have anybody looming over her, so she could and she worked by herself, so she was like bored for the better part of the day. So she would just talk to me. And there was a lot of times when we would just be quiet, just listen to each other breathe and work. But, whenever something came up, we would talk, and it was good. It was very, very good. She helped me through a lot, and I hope that I helped her through quite a bit as well. Now, she's kind of turned me on to podcasts. I had heard of podcasts, and when she brought it up, I was like, just the word podcast, it was like gross to me. I was like, that sounds so stupid. Like, what is a fucking podcast? That sounds so chintzy and weird, and I don't, it's just strange. I don't understand. What is a podcast? So she kind of explained that it's kind of like a radio show or what have you, which I loved. I grew up listening to Ron and Lex and Terry. Those are guys here in Jacksonville. But they're not here anymore. They're based somewhere else now, I think. But at any rate, I Howard Stern, I loved listening to those morning shows like that. And I was like, oh, cool. So these are like shows that you can access like anytime you want. Oh, that's freaking cool. So I said, okay. So she kind of put me on a couple of podcasts that she was listening to. And then I started I checked them out. And then I was like, all right, how do I find other podcasts? So I started messing around and I started finding podcasts that were good for me. You know, I needed a lot of help mentally, and I was going to therapy, but I was also I found some podcasts that were therapists that were doing podcasts talking about real things. And there was this one that I would listen to, and it was called The Overwhelmed Brain. And I owe that guy a debt. You know, I really do. I'm hoping that there are other people out there that know this podcast. But every time I would turn it on, every episode that would end and start anew, it was like he was talking directly to me about something that I was feeling that very day. It was very odd. I used to actually email him and like leave him, messages on the Apple podcast thing, and and he would respond. So that was great. He was like I said, very hands-on podcaster, and very well put together podcast. I really enjoyed it. So if you have issues, or if you're having issues or whatever, go check out The Overwhelmed Brain. I'm fairly certain it's still out on Apple Podcasts. I'm not sure if he's still doing it or not. Honestly, I would love to talk to him. I can't remember his damn name to save my life, but I could look it up, but I don't feel like it. But yes, it was very therapeutic to me to listen to him talk about a lot of the things that I was going through. He experienced it. Not only was he a therapist, but he had went through almost everything that I went through. He and his wife were homeless, eating at soup kitchens. I didn't have to go that far. Luckily I had a friend that helped me out and let me live with him. But I mean, I didn't have a place of my own. So in essence, I was homeless. But there was a lot of, coinciding things that happened. So, let me get back to the point. The point was, the question was, when did I know I wanted to get into podcasting? So I would hear it, and I would listen to different podcasts, and I would notice that some of them sounded better than others. And this was way before like the video aspect, like we're doing right now. And so I would, listen to each different podcast, and I would say, God, that sounds so good. That sounds so clean. And I have this weird sensation about like crispy sounding, video looking good, things of that nature. If it's like real sharp, I like it. So I was like, dang, man, it would be cool to be able to do that. And I'm a nerd, so there's that. When I was in a band, my favorite, we made an album. It took us a year to record it and to edit it down and everything. But the editing process was like more fun to me than actually playing the music. I loved, hearing the microphones and hearing the instruments through the microphones and being able to cut clean tracks, it's just, it does something to my brain. Okay. So with that being said, that's kind of like, it kind of like ignited this little thing inside of me. And then, I kind of put it off to the side. I started a YouTube page shortly thereafter, this YouTube page. If you go to my videos, they're horrible. I'm not taking them down. I'm going to leave them up for for prosperity or whatever you call it. So I can look back and see the bullshit I was doing before, and then see where I'm at now. And then of course, future stuff. And I want to be able to look and see the progression of my content and how it's progressed. So, the YouTube page was more of a thing, where I was following some people on YouTube, and they were photographers and videographers and things of that nature. And they were like professionals they knew everything there was to know about every camera that's ever been made. And if they didn't, they researched it, and they would bring you everything and it was the best. obviously I fell in love with, not like literally, but like I love Peter McKinnon's stuff. And if you don't know who that is, then you need to go find out. But even for people that are not photographers or videographers or whatever you're doing, if you're not a content creator of any kind, his videos, like the majority of them, his vlogs and stuff, are just good. The video always looks good. The audio always sounds great. And they're interesting and they're fun. He's funny. He has fun with people, and he does something that I can't do. And that is to like go vlog in public and be out in public talking to a camera. Like I couldn't do this in public. Okay. It's not something I'm interested in. I mean, I've thought about trying to do it in the past and I just couldn't bring myself to do it. And I realized that, you know what, maybe that's just not my thing. So I kind of gave up on that. But at any rate, it was my way of like practicing my video skills, my editing skills, my audio skills. I wanted to get better at all of this stuff. And as I went along, I noticed a progression. I wouldn't just do the same thing over and over again. I would try new mics. I would try a new way to do lighting. I would try a new way to do this or that, and it was very helpful to me. And but at any rate, that kind of sparked the passion for the podcast. I was like, I could just do an audio podcast. That would be kind of dope. So then I met my girlfriend and we dated for a while. She moved in with me. We went on our first vacation together, which was so funny. Almost at the same time, we were talking to each other and we were like having a conversation. It was such a good conversation. And we were like, looked at each other and we go, we should start a podcast, like jinx, And I was like, damn, we just took the words out of each other's mouths. Like, that's crazy that we were both thinking the same thing because we could both talk to a brick wall. So her and I started a podcast. It's still available. There's no new episodes, I think, since 2022. I think. I can't recall. But there's quite a few episodes up there now. We had so much fun doing it. It would not have stopped if it wasn't for, I had at some point towards the end, I was on I had this podcast. I had another podcast. There was too many things. I was doing too many things. And I think she thought I was getting burnt out or something. Plus I started introducing the video element, which she didn't care for. Not everybody wants to be on camera. Go figure. So we kind of stopped. Which I know she loved it and I know that she would do it again. And I think her and I probably should do it again and we should start back up and get that podcast going again. But I would love that. But it was called Kitchen Table Discussions. So if you're interested, go check that out. It's on, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the places you get podcasts. And there's enough episodes there. And you what's funny is you can start at the beginning and hear the audio, the way it sounds, and then you can hear a progression of better, worse, better, best, all the way through. And I learned how to edit faster and do all the things, and I learned how to do live sound so we didn't have to edit as much. That was the biggest part, and that's where I'm at now. That's why I do these live, so I don't have to edit anything. And I got camera controls here, and I can do all that stuff. We can have up to 3 cameras in here. So when we have podcast guests, my producer, Pat, he sits in this chair and I sit over there, and the guest sits on this side, and then we talk, and he does all this stuff and I don't have to think about it. But when he's not here I am doing it. Okay. I got way off topic. So like I said, I love to talk to people. And ultimately, my first podcast with my girlfriend, I created this podcast simultaneously or maybe a little bit before. I'd have to go back and check the records. But I guess I should have muted myself. Anyways, so I'll have to go back and check, but it doesn't really matter. This podcast was just me. And what I was doing with it was my brain tells me I would watch all these people and listen to all these people explaining, photography, videography, and like audio technical stuff. And they would say things that no one, unless you were in the game and understood, like what's a noise gate? I don't know, what's aperture and what's the difference between that and shutter speed and all this stuff. And it's like, I wanted to talk to people and teach them everything that I learned along my journey in a way that was like you're like someone that you can relate to is talking to you. There's not a lot of technical jargon in there. I don't like that stuff. If there ever is, I'm kind of like ass whipped by talking about it. But that was my reason really for starting this podcast. The other one with my girlfriend was basically just because we love talking to each other. And that was a lot of fun for me. And I think every damn couple needs to do something like that, where they are locked in with headphones and microphones and they have to talk to each other. I think it's therapeutic as shit. And it's a great fun thing to do on a Saturday night when you're both off the next day and you got nothing better to do. And you're like, well, we could go out and drink or we could stay home and do a podcast. Also, I quit drinking about 8 years ago or something like that. I have lost count. You would think that I would remember the day that I quit. I remember the moment that I decided that I was going to quit, but I don't remember the exact day and time, all that shit. I have no idea. But I haven't I poured my last bottle of Jameson down the drain when I lived in the apartments, and I've never looked back. And I'm not asking for kudos or anything like that. I still struggle with it. It is a hard thing. And if you have a family member or a friend that's like trying to quit drinking or that needs to quit drinking, you should fucking say something. Because if you don't, they could go down a really dark road and you may end up losing them. I almost lost myself. So, and then I thought about my children, and there was just too much. And I want to be here for my kids. I want to be here for my grandkid. I want to be here, and I don't want that to be my legacy. I don't want that to be the thing that my kids think about when they think about their dad, that, he drank himself to death. But at any rate, getting off topic again, that's kind of what I did to start this podcast. Now, the evolution of my podcast has been so all over the place. Okay. So it used to be called Archetype Aperture. And, I loved that. I loved it, but it was very photocentric, and people knew from the name that it was very niche. And if I didn't talk about something that was photography or videography related or audio technical stuff, it was like, what is this shit? And no one would download that. No one would listen to that episode. But at any rate, so it was that for about the first 50 episodes. And if you go listen to the Apple Podcasts, you'll see like the first 50 episodes, it's just our Archetype Aperture, and it's just me. But at any rate, this podcast, this interview podcast that I started, and I've talked about this before, so if you've heard it, I'm so sorry. We're going to go through it again. But because, this person asked that question, and I want to kind of expound on it. Expound? Whatever. I want to do that. So people will know, because some people don't really know. But if you don't know, you better ask somebody. But yes, I started, I can't talk about this podcast without talking about a different one. I don't really want to bring up the name of it or anything, but there was a podcast that I was involved with intermittently, and then it became a professional type of thing where, we were getting thousands of downloads. We were doing really well. Our YouTube channel was doing very well. Our audio was doing very well. But we went from doing an audio podcast to a video podcast to a live stream podcast. And I learned how to do everything there. So for that, I am very grateful to that person to push me to do those things. Now that kind of ended, and regretfully that ended. It's not something that I talk about a lot, and I'll never talk shit on anyone. Okay. I still have much love for that man. And like I said, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now doing this if it wasn't for him. So, and that goes for a lot of people. A lot of people helped me along the way, pushed me to do things that I didn't maybe want to do or I wouldn't normally do. And I got pushed into doing it, and I was maybe uncomfortable at first, but I did it anyways. And then I was like thankful that I did do it. So with all that being said, when that ended, I had some equipment. I took it home. I left the equipment. The rest of it was his, and I left that there. So when I got here, I was like, well, I need to buy this, this, and this to create the look. So I bought all these curtains that you see behind me, and a desk, a table. I bought some new microphones, a new Rodecaster Pro, which is what I use for audio. New ATEM Mini Pro I had to buy. That's what I used to switch the cameras. I ended up having to buy this new camera, and I bought a lot of stuff on credit that's now paid off, so I feel good about that. But and I recreated the kind of feel and look that I wanted to have on my podcast. So I started, and once I got it done, I was still just doing me. I was just doing me. I would come out here to this beautiful studio that I created and just be a solo podcaster. And sometimes I would make videos out here, which I still do my YouTube videos. When I do an unboxing or something, I do it out here. But I started interviewing people that I met at this great little place. It used to be called the Collab Cafe, and now I believe it's called Cafecito. And at any rate, they were great. They were having events out there like once a month, and it would be, was it once a month or once a week? I think it was once a month. But anyways, I digress. But I would go out there, and they were networking events, and I met a lot of models, met a lot of photographers, videographers, you name it, entrepreneurs. I met a lot of people that I might not have otherwise met. And they started finding out that I had a podcast, and I was like, okay, well, they were like asking to come on, and I'm like, that's weird. I've only done an interview with like a couple people, So I set it up for live, and I think what was my first one? Was it my friend Russell, or I think it might have been my friend Josie. It doesn't matter. But so I did my first podcast out here, and then I was doing them, and I had all this stuff like over on the big table, and I would do it myself. Well, eventually I was like, it'd be nice to have someone over here, like the man in the chair, like on Spider-Man, he had a guy in the chair. So I was like, who could I ask? And then I remembered that I have a son-in-law that he's always asking me. He's like, hey man, if you need help doing anything, come on, hit me up. I'll help you out. So I called him up and I said, yo, Pat, could you help me do this podcast? And he gladly said yes. So he came, and now he is very much a part of this podcast, whether he wants to be or not. He's very much someone that people look forward to hearing from. And I love that. So that's how I got to where I'm at right now. But that was a huge, I don't even know how long I was going there, but that was a huge walk around type of thing for what made me want to start a podcast. So hopefully you got your answer there. Let's see. Let me go in here and see if anybody, nope, nobody left any new questions. So, and I guess Pat decided not to pop in. You could have popped in, you little fucker. But yeah, if you guys have my number and you want to call it. I'll answer, and you'll be on the podcast live. I'm tapped. There's nothing left. Ha ha! Just kidding. Oh, I remember what I wanted to do. I don't know if you guys know this, but I am a total anime nerd. So I want to talk about a few animes that I think you should probably check out if you're into animes. And even if you're not, I think you should check them out because they're fucking great. I'm going to pull up my Crunchyroll here. Okay, I'm going to go down. This is in no particular order. Excuse me so much. What the fuck is that? I don't want that. Okay, I love this anime so much that I am rewatching it. Okay. This anime gives me so much. Like so much. And the main character of this show is very inspirational, and I think that you would feel the same way. Like, I love this little fucker, okay? But Black Clover, that's the anime, okay? And the more you watch, he's like he goes from being a commoner with no power, no magic powers, and he never gets magic power, but he gets what's called anti-magic. So he can basically destroy magic, which is very useful in this world where everyone uses magic. But he's just super strong. You know, it's kind of like Mashal and like Mashal, Magic and Muscles. You know, he has no magic power either. He's just super strong. But Black Clover is a little bit different in the way that there's like guilds, and he joins the Black Bulls, which is one of them. And there's a lot of people in there that, you know, they're pretty chill place. You know, they're like kind of the slackers of all the guilds. And but he really kind of puts them on their ass because no one believed in this kid. He doesn't have magic powers or nothing. So they're like, how can you really affect anything? But he always says at the end of every episode is like, my magic power is never giving up. So, and he would get his ass handed to him on a fucking golden platter, and he would be dead in a ditch somewhere and then crawl his ass out, and he would say, I'm not done yet. Well, that started to inspire every other person that was kind of a slack ass in the guild and you start seeing the other characters say that. They would think of him and flash back to him saying it, and then they were like, hell yeah, I'm not done yet. So that's, to me currently, that's like my number one. Of course, Chainsaw Man is right up in there, but I'm not putting them in any number order or anything like that. Now I'm going to say this next one, and we're only on episode 6, and I can't watch ahead because this is something other. My daughter was on me to watch this anime for probably about, I don't know, a couple months. And I would just, you know, cause I'm like, I'll like tell people about other animes and stuff. But like when I get suggestions, I'm like, okay. But this show is called To Your Eternity. Okay. And the premise is, you're not really certain yet what this entity is, if it's God, if it's what it is, but you just see this hand and there's like a narration that says, you know, I had this orb and I threw it down to earth, and the orb has the ability to take shape of anything it touches or, you know, whatever it imprints on. So when it first landed on earth, it hit a rock. Well, it was a rock for a long, long time. It became that rock. And then like a dog or a wolf, that guy that had gotten injured fell down on the rock and died, and then it assumed that dog's identity. Well, anyways, I'm not going to get further into that, but the orb can take on the shape of a lot of different, anything really, anything that it like imprints on, or that imprints on it. But it is very, if you are easy to cry, you'll probably cry. It's one of them. It's kind of like, how would I characterize it? So obviously I would say Promised Neverland plus, oh my God, like, I don't know, Demon Slayer or something like that. I mean, I'm just trying to think of something like two different animes I could put together, but it's there's some action in it. There's some, it's got a great storyline, and it's like every episode is like popping. Okay. So go check it out for your, To Your Eternity. Like I said, I'm only on episode 6. So, Lord of Mysteries is pretty good. I have really not been paying too much attention to it. Like, it's one of those, it's beautifully drawn and like, I love it, but I honestly, like, I always get interrupted or like I get distracted or whatever. And I just haven't been really keeping up with it. Tugananki, that is like about the boy that's like a, what do you call it? What do they call him? An Oni. So that's a good one. Kaiju number 8. Ooh, there's a new episode. Kaiju number 8 is a very good anime. It's a newer anime, so it's not like one of the old school ones or whatever, but I don't care about shit like that. If it's got all the elements that I like, a good storyline, good character development, action. I love action. If there's some funny stuff in it, I like that as well. I love a little comedy. And as long as there's not like a shite load of fan service, I'm good. Although sometimes I'm in the mood for it. This one is so damn good, guys. This is a watch. This is like a, you gotta watch it or you will not understand this show. It's called The Ancient Magus Bride. And it's so damn good, guys. I highly recommend this one. It's a slow burn, okay? So it's not like one of these fast-paced deals, but it's about an orphan girl that's basically a slave, or she's been enslaved, and this being comes and buys her, and basically buys her freedom. He didn't buy her to like own her. He had bought her to like buy her freedom, because that's really the only way to do that. So once he does, then they go on all these adventures. He teaches her magic, and just it's a good anime. I've seen so many other silly animes. Oh Jesus Lord! Here's another good one. It's a slow burn. It's kind of a long. It's almost Studio Ghibli, but it's not quite. It's kind of drawn in that, but it's not. Somali and the Forest Spirit. So if you have a little bit of time, I think there's only like 12 episodes, and it's beginning to end. So this series, it ends. It's not like they're going to be making more of them, but you don't get left hanging. Okay. But it's a good one, and it's kind of a tearjerker as well. If you're a parent, you're going to really have a hard time. What's some other good ones? I mean, I've watched so many. Fairy Tale is always a good, obviously Demon Slayer. Attack on Titan is a classic. It's one of those animes that's just like One Piece. It's like, it's a classic. And it's got a long run. So like if you don't binge it, like you'll be watching it for a long time, but that's also one that you really have to pay attention, because I believe it's the last season. They do like a time skip. Spoiler alert. And I was so lost because I wasn't paying attention at that time. But really good, and it's got a badass fucking soundtrack. So the Fate series, those are good. I'm not a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Naruto. Bake Mono, God, I don't know how to say this. Monogatari. There's a Monogatari series on Crunchyroll, and if you type in Monogatari, that's Monogatari. Type that in, and they'll all come up. And I don't know, you can look up online like which is the right order to watch them in. They're not dubbed. They will probably never be dubbed. But they're so good, and the stories are so good, and the animation's so good that I watched them, subbed. Whoa, get out of my face. But yeah, those were so good to, like I said, as well to watch. My Hero Academia, it's a no-brainer. That's a good one if you're into, like, I mean, the main character is, again, he's kind of like powerless, and then, he gets powers, and he's just a crybaby. But I love him. I love all the characters. Full Alchemist, that's a great show. Now the thing, there's one common denominator in a couple of these. Actually, there's a lot of these animes. The guy that plays Yami in Black Clover, I can't remember his damn name to save my life, but he also plays Piccolo, Vegeta. He plays in My Hero Academia as well. He plays All Might. He does so. I think this dude is just trying to get into every dubbing of every anime that's ever been made. And his voice is so familiar, you can't miss it. As soon as I hear it, I think Captain Yami. So I would, if I could ever meet a voice actor or what have you, it would definitely be this guy, and I would love to pick his brain about how he does what he does. Why is he so popular in his own opinion, and why does he think like he's like he's probably been in like 50, 60 different animes. He's also in Solo Leveling, by the way, which is too a good show. It's just, to me, and this is going to piss some people off, and I don't care, but to me, it's a little overrated. I love it, and I'm going to watch it, but I just feel like it's mid. No cap. Is it bad for me to say mid, no cap? Okay, I don't really give a fuck, but you're going to have to get over that. I don't have to. Don to Don is also a great, you've probably heard of that. It's a great anime. Where's my drinky drink? Gachi Akuta. That's a great anime as well. And again, like they don't, like in that anime, they don't really explain, like things are explained as you go along. Like it's not just everything is figured out right there and then you just go on the adventures. That's not it at all. And so I like that. And it's like a story of this young man is like coming into his own power. Hang on. Okay, me. All right, Shield Hero, very good. It's an unassuming, one of those unassuming deals. Of course, One Piece it's the GOAT. Chainsaw Man we already talked about. This is my watch list. I don't even know if I finished some of these. Shangri-La Frontier, I've talked about that before. That is they better come with another fucking season, or at least, I mean, I would like to see at least 2 or 3 more seasons of that. I love it. Let's see. Come on, bitch. I have watched a shite load of like isekais. If you don't know what an isekai is, it's like when someone dies in this world and then they're transported, their essence or their spirit or whatever is transported into another world. And usually it's in a world where there's magic and elves and fairies and shit. And they're given, they're bestowed like certain powers or whatever. And usually they're fucking overpowered. Like, this Unwanted Undead Adventure, that was a good one. Demon Lord 2099 was hilarious, and it had action in it. It had comedy. It had a lot of things. There was a hint of fan service a little bit here and there. Now, if you don't know what fan service is, that's like when they show titties or, a little ass or, whatever the fuck it is, but that's fan service. Didn't like that one at all. I don't think I finished it. And mind you, I don't even keep all my stuff inside of my list here. I don't keep it all together. Some of these, again, I'm not seeing any that really stood out to me. I think Talked OP Destiny, that was a good one. I can't remember. I mean, it wasn't good enough for me to like really fucking remember what it was about. So it must not have been that good. So I'm a Spider, So What? That was my friend Shaq. He told me about that one. That's a very good isekai. It's about a young lady that died and came back as a fucking spider, and she became overpowered. You know, Vivi Fluorite Eyes Song. That's a good anime. That time I got reincarnated as a slime, of course. Near Automata. That is an anime that they made based off of like a game, and it's very good. I wish they would come with more. That was very good. I liked it a lot. Where is the one that I was really I was thinking of one? Oh, Tsukamichi Moonlit Fantasy. That's a very good anime. It too does have some fan service. Radiant, that was a good anime. I liked that because it had a storyline of which that it's an adventure anime. They go on adventures and stuff, and the kid learns about his powers and all that good stuff, and he gets stronger as he goes. But so it's kind of similar to Black Clover in that way. I really love those types of animes, but it's a good one to watch. Assassination Classroom, that's a very good one as well. And this is just like I said, these are in no particular order whatsoever. But I guess that's all my list. Anyways, yeah, those are some of my suggestions for animes. If you're not into anime, but you kind of want to get into it or you're interested in it, instead of getting into like One Piece and watching all 1,077 episodes, which is not fucking necessary at all. But, just start with something like Solo Leveling maybe, or, one of those other ones that I talked about. And if you're into like emotional shit, those first two that I talked about, Lord of mercy. Okay, I've geeked out enough. We're at an hour and 34 minutes to be exact. But I did do 2 minutes of music, so whatever. Let's see, is anybody... I got one... Nobody's watching. Cool. I'm by myself. You didn't hear nothing. So you can't prove nothing. But I'm going to go and hang out with my pups. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope that, the next time I do one of these, if you want to, I'm going to set it up where you can, do the little thing on Instagram and, ask me questions or leave comments or whatever. And feel free to do that as well. You can go to my DMs and leave questions and comments inside there. If you're a local business owner, entrepreneur, artist, whatever. If you're doing something that's really cool that you want to highlight, whether it's your business or your art or anything like that, I am here for it. I love those types of things. And this is a very local podcast. And by local, I mean Jacksonville, Florida. Okay. It's hotter than a motherfucker right now, but I do have air conditioning in my studio, and we are more than willing to book an episode. And I do want to tell you, next week we have Chris from 2X Visions. He'll be coming back on the show, which I'm super excited about. Where is the... So yeah, join us then. Patty should be back. Me and Chris should be sitting down. I don't know if he'll be bringing his dad, but he's more than welcome to. But at any rate, I'm just excited to sit down. We tried to book a podcast a while back, but we just kept crossing wires. Like I book people, and if you don't give me like a couple weeks notice, like you may have to wait. And by that time, it was just like like we were just missing each other. We were like, it was like playing phone tag. But at any rate, so next week will be Chris from 2X Visions. If you don't already follow him, go to Instagram and follow him right now. I think he's also got a YouTube channel, and he does phenomenal shit, guys. He's a young buck, but he's someone that I have been watching since day one. And I know that sounds creepy as shit, but it's not like that. I watch his work. I watch his vlogs. I see what he's doing. And I'm really excited about having him come back on. It's been far too long. And he's been on a couple times, but like I'm really interested to see what he's been up to. I saw that he was up on the fucking main stage with Lil Duval at Duval Day, and you can bet your ass we're going to talk about that, because I didn't go. I didn't know if I was supposed to go. But it looked like a hella good time. And I really kicked myself in the ass for not going. So that's on me. But at least now I can talk to Chris and find out just what the hell it was all, what it was like, what it was about, what did he end up doing. You know, I saw that he met Lil Duval, which is awesome. He's like our local superhero. I mean, he's a local, star, basically. I mean, he's a comedian. He's a musician. You know, I think he does rap and other types of music as well. So, yeah, I mean, and he's a little Duval, man. He's fucking awesome. I would love to sit down and talk to him here, but I've never seen that man without a fat ass joint in his mouth. And I've got AC, but no out-C. I got no ventilation. So, Jesus, this place would be smoked the fuck out. And everyone in my house, because it just sucks it right into the house. Everybody would be high. And I don't smoke weed. I'm an advocate for it, but I don't smoke it. So anyways, I'm really looking forward to sitting down with Chris next week. Join us. It's every Saturday. And I'm going to tell you this. It's loosely between 4:30 and 6:30 that we start. And the reason for that is we live in Jacksonville, Florida. And on a Saturday, some people, maybe they want to go out and do things with their family and loved ones. And I don't want to start a podcast at 6:30 and then be done by like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and then they can't go and do anything anywhere. Although nothing really starts until about 10 o'clock. So, but being on a podcast and talking for 2 or 3 hours will take it out of you. So at any rate, I'm looking forward to that. And we've got many, many more guests coming on. You'll see. It's going to be fun. I'm going to have fun. Whether you're with me or not, I'm going to have so much fun talking to these people, and I'm going to learn all about them. But if you are not already subscribed to this channel, please do that now. And go back and watch some of the old episodes. Go back and watch some of my old videos that I was making, some vlogs and stuff like that. Leave a comment and tell me what you think. Look, man, I'm okay with negative. If you say negative comments, I'm okay with it. It just helps me to get better. So leave comments, like and share, do all the things. And if you want to make videos from my videos, it's turned on to where you can do that. But yeah, as for that goes, you can follow me on Instagram. It's the Graybeard Podcast on Instagram. And it's also the Graybeard Photo Co. That's my photography page. And on TikTok, it's Graybeard Productions. And you should be able to find me there on TikTok. Go follow me there. Go follow me on Instagram and subscribe to this channel as well. And thank you so much for everything, everybody. I love all you guys. And I will be seeing you in the next one. Bye. I love you.